them random.
Apparently, they dragged me on Twitter. I don't give a because Twitter's not a real place.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of What's Happening on Hip Hop Twitter. That's the 70s version I just said. But I'm trying to, you know how it is when it's 2022, it's a new year. You know how black folk do, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do this. You ain't going to do shit, all right? It's not a new year. It's the same Hip Hop Twitter. I am your host, Vegas of Hip Hop Now podcast. With me, my homie on Twitter also, Yentz. Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year. What's happening? Let's get into this. This is gonna be dope. So I'm ready.
Right. People bringing up old shit from last year, which was a couple weeks ago. All right, Yentz, what the fuck could people possibly be talking about on Twitter in 2022?
All right, so this first thing, this is gonna be a 2-for-1 special, so to speak. So
okay,
the initial tweet was a question asking what are the top 5 rap albums of all time.
Okay.
So there's a person that answered, and this is
Illmatic.
their
My bad.
Illmatic, you know it already. No. Well, this person said Doggy Style by Snoop. Understandable. You know, I don't think many people would really bat an eye at that. The Chronic from Dr. Dre, another one I don't think anybody would really, say much about. Then they say the East 199 Eternal by Bone Thugs. Still, hey, I can understand. I can understand.
Right.
But here we go. The Wonderful World of Cecilio by Lil C.
Nah, you lying. You are lying.
No, I've never, in all my time on Twitter, I've never seen anybody answer this question and have that particular album listed as now this is top 5 of all time hip hop album. And the first couple, if you one of those people that we see from time to time that don't read the whole tweet, you might be like, all right, I can see that, but if you go deeper into the tweet and you see that little C's, that might cause your heart to skip a beat, because it did mine. I was like, what in the where did that come from? What I was baffled. But let me give you the last one. The last one was Totally Crossed Out by Kriss. This
okay. This motherfucker who made this list is totally crossed out. Who
man?
Wait. All right. Doggy Style, The Chronic.
Yep.
Bone Thugs.
Yep.
First album.
Yep.
Lil Caesar's album. And Kriss. Did this person like die halfway through their list and then someone just came in and filled in the rest?
Yo, and man, let me tell you, it started off, you know how it can get. It started off a little, storm of comments and, what the fuck expressions and all this and that. So, rightfully so, like I said, and then the person who answered the tweet, they were smart by leaving the last 2 for last, because, like I said, if you don't really pay much attention, you just see the first 3, you might move on. So
now, look, I'm gonna try to educate this because everybody got their own opinion.
Right.
Opinions are subjective,
no doubt.
and I'm the type to always want to get to the root of why. Like, why did this person choose this combination of albums? And I think I know. Okay. And it's sort of age based.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, like my sister is 2 years younger than me, right? And so like, I've been on hip hop since before forever. So I
Right.
was already there with it. She got on it big time early 90s.
Mhm.
So, whereas I bought the Chronic and she knew about the Chronic and she didn't have to have it right because I had it.
Right.
She bought Snoop's album. She also was into Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Mm.
She also was big into Krossed.
Mm.
And she's also the only person I knew at the time that bought Lil C's debut album.
Wow.
And I started to think, right? Because I have a cousin who his list isn't that right, but I always used to look at him like, wow, the hip hop artists and acts that he's big on because he just got into the music heavy like in high school. Like DMX and the Locks is like the greatest thing, and and Mace and all of them, but that's like his era.
Right. Right.
Whereas for me, they would have to do a lot because I've been rocking since the 80s with some of this. So
Right.
I'm thinking it's a person who just bought these albums and they were favorites of theirs
Right.
at the time. And so when they think about all their favorites through hip hop, because we don't need the hip hop police. We know you got every hip hop album known to man, but that's not every hip hop fan.
No, it certainly is. No, you're right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying? This could represent someone who didn't buy everything, but of the shit they bought,
that's what they was rocking.
these are their favorites. Now, the
Right.
Little C's, the best thing on Little C's album is Jay-Z's verse. That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. Like that's, and you got to wait to the end of that song to get to that shit.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. What did Twitter people, did they find him and kill him? What happened?
There was some people that was going at him and trying to get him to back his point and everything like that. And look, I just want to add too. Now I could just like what you said. I agree with what you said because I mean I know a lot of people who was rocking with the Kross especially of a certain age group, like you were saying. Right. So the Little C's one, I think we in agreement. Like we just both like, what? I don't know. That sounds more crazy than the Kross one. In all reality.
Yeah, it really does.
Okay, so now this is the second part. This is like I was saying, 2 for 1. Okay, so during this same whole thing, he was getting harassed over the Lil C's and the Kross. My man says Kross were the first rappers to wear baseball jerseys, and because of that, they it spread like wildfire throughout hip hop culture because of Kross being trendsetters, wearing baseball jerseys in the videos.
What?
Yeah, I was like, man, no, I can't. And they even put like apparently there was a quote from Jermaine Dupri who says nobody in hip hop in 1992 were wearing baseball jerseys. After 1992, after Kross brought that in, cats was rocking, baseball, sports paraphernalia.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, and the way this was worded, this was a direct quote from Jermaine Dupri from some interview that he had given, stating that him and Kross brought the jersey trend into hip hop in 1992.
Jermaine Dupri, I'm talking to you directly, Mr. Dupri. Mr. Dupri, I'm talking to you directly, nigga. The shits were backwards. Don't try to divert our attention from what you thought was going to be the trend. It wasn't those jerseys. I'm pretty sure we can find someone with a jersey on.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Be prior to Kross, but don't try to divert our attention to what you thought was going to be the trendsetter, which was wearing your clothes backwards like a dumbass. And you and I'm not talking about the kids, Kross. I'm talking about you was in the video doing it too. So I mean, he was the height of a kid, but I'm saying, come
Yeah,
on, man, really?
that
Oh
was
yeah,
that
there
was
was
the
a
wildest part. Like you know, like I was saying, you know, the list, it ended off kind of wild, but then it got even wilder with you know, with that. And then that really, you know,
I
cats was
bet.
really coming out off of that one, you know. And
And
I
look,
mean, I don't even know why would you even say that? Even if you Jermaine Dupri, you know, cats
is he gonna?
wearing jerseys.
Is he trying to take credit for the early 2000s when, especially throwbacks, jerseys and hats and sports paraphernalia was probably at its height? It was hip hop because I don't remember any. Like, when did Cross come out? What was that? 90? You said 92?
Yeah, 92 is the year that we quote.
Come
He's
on,
quoting,
man.
you know.
After Cross, Cats was wearing jerseys.
Yeah, nah, I
No
don't.
one on Death Row was doing that.
No.
Uh, I don't remember no Illmatic videos, no Wu-Tang videos, no Bad
Fife,
Boy videos. I mean, they
Fife
had
wasn't
their
wearing no
own,
baseball jerseys. You
right,
know, man, come on. Yeah, that. I don't
nonsense.
know. I was hoping that there was a link to this so-called interview. I don't know if it was a video interview that he said it in, or it was a
Mhm.
written interview, maybe in the source, or I don't know what, right on or some shit.
Right. And Right On and wait, they don't still sell that, do they? What?
I got no idea. I
Right
don't think
On
so.
online, right online.
Right
Oh
on.
my God. Well, so the moral to the story is Jermaine Dupri should never make his top 5 lists public because it's clearly him. Because I've never heard anybody argue crisscross for those reasons.
Jermaine got a what they call that,
A
damn,
burner account?
a burner account. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, burn it, because what the hell are you talking about? What else is going on hip hop Twitter?
All right. So now this is there was a question that was asked, and it was just out there. I don't know exactly what the whole reason of it was. I just caught the question, and the question was, what makes the Chronic album better than anything by 21 Savage? Like the person's clearly a 21 Savage, you know, advocate, a
Right,
fan,
right.
and they don't believe that the Chronic is better than anything that 21 Savage has made. They don't believe that Drake can rap better than 21 Savage. 21
Mm.
Savage is much more creative and innovative than Dr. Dre.
Innovative.
Innovative. Yep. These are the words that were used. So what do you say about that?
Oh my God. I mean, this is clearly someone who just doesn't understand why, and they haven't been. No one has explained to them why the Chronic is this classic album, why people love it so much, so that he could have a point of reference when he's comparing it to what he likes now. 21 Savage, in order for him to be innovative, he has to have followers in some regard. The game, he has to shift the game. What did he
Right.
do to shift the
Yeah.
game? Like, I could you don't have to be a fan of Future. You don't have to be a fan of Migos. But it's clear to see that they did something original
There was an
and everybody
influence
else
that,
followed. Right.
yeah.
That's innovation. You know what I'm saying? It may not be the the hip hop police like, but at least you can point to that. 21 Savage, he is the best keeper of a secret to know that nigga's not from America. That's innovative. But maybe Plies got him beat, because remember, Plies was rapping and acting dumb, and this man is highly educated.
Right.
So maybe he's not innovative as that, right? So,
I mean, what I don't get. Okay, if you think 21 Savage's music is better than the Chronic, okay, that's that. Like we said before, you welcome to that. But I don't get the comparison of 21 Savage directly to Dr. Dre as an MC, so to speak. I don't get that, because it's just, there's really not, to me, I wouldn't compare them, and that's not even a who I think is better type comparison. It just seems light years apart to make that comparison. As far as MCing, subject matter kind of thing. I wouldn't compare it. I couldn't compare it. So I mean, what do you think? Do you think that that's a comparison to be made? 21 Savage versus Dre as
Not
an
at all,
MC?
because not at all, because there has to be some through line that connects them somehow, whether it's style or style of music, whatever it may be. Now, I will say this, and I'm gonna be devil's advocate, only because I've seen where it could happen, because it's not just on a younger cat, but I've seen cases where sometimes the old head that's arguing the new music isn't really making a case for the old music, and they'll just say, yo, nothing he makes is better than this and that, because this person could be hearing about the Chronic all the time, right? The Chronic,
Right.
and they're thinking 21 Savage is the greatest. How is that better than this? It could be an honest question, right? But the thing is, it's sort of like, well, complete sentences is one way that you could start there. That's one way it's better, right? And it's Dre is speaking in complete sentences. Yeah, let's just start and end there. Let's just start and end there. But you know what I'm saying? It seems weird, like a really weird comparison.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably more of a question to know more about the Chronic, to see what's the hype about, because it works both ways, right? Okay, so what would make him put 21 Savage so high? Like, you know what I'm saying? On his list of Dr. Dre's Chronic isn't better than this. Well, damn, what makes you think that about 21 Savage?
Right.
Because
Yep.
we don't hear it.
just the compare. I mean, if you comparing 21 Savage to Dre, that's still way crazy to me. But there's you certainly can't compare 21 Savage's music to Dr. Dre's. That's Dr. Dre's whole thing, is music.
Right.
So you got to be attacking Dre as an MC, and we all know, I mean, when you talk about MC, he's not really writing what he's spitting, but he's still an MC as far as the delivery and all of that kind of stuff. It's the way it is. I
You
just
know
don't.
Well, you know what I think it is? I think it's because, like, you got to look, like, I've seen younger cats say stuff like this. I've seen younger cats say, what's so special about Illmatic? I listened and it was boring. I think when you think about everything that's happening in their music, because we're going straight to the lyrics. We're not listening to, effects on voices, the type of beats, whether they're hype, none of that. We going straight to the lyrics when we listen to 21 Savage. When they listen to 21 Savage, it's not just the lyrics.
No,
a lot of times that's probably the last thing.
All right,
right?
The hook, the music,
right? The hook, the music, what's on his voice, how he uses his voice with the effects.
Right.
So if you used to that, and then you go listen to Dr. Dre, and it's missing all of that pizzazz, and it's just a dude rapping really basic. It would, and you don't have no context, right? You wasn't around when this joint came out to see how big it was. It would seem boring to you because you have a different criteria for what you're, listening for.
Right.
But at the end of the day, come on, man. How many times you gonna listen to one nigga rap the same lyrics on every song on every album? At least for Dr. Dre, we can say he does not do that.
Right. Oh shit.
This is old 2022. This is how people just jumping into the new year.
Man, look, they diving head first into the shallow pool.
Oh my God. What else is happening on hip hop Twitter?
All right. So this is a topic, pretty much. It's an old topic that reared its head again in 2022. And I'm talking about Kumodi's report cards. You know,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So Kumodi made the report cards, one with the list of his peers from his era.
Wait, hold up, Yentz. I don't give a shit. Nah, go ahead.
Well, you know, the two lists, there was one from the 80s where he graded people in the 80s, himself included, and then one more current MCs, you know, Jay-Z, Nas, that, you know, this, that, and the other. And, you know, it caused a lot of conversation to be had again. And a lot of people was, you know, questioning, you know, well, you know, why would Kumodi be a person to grade anybody? You know, that was one thing. Like, what makes him, you know, I guess so special to grade? But I mean, when you look at his criteria, I think it's cool the way he broke it down. You know, his vocabulary, articulation, creativity, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, he graded everybody along those kind of categories, which I think is cool. You know, he you can see that he put thought into how he wanted to grade people. Now, you know, when you look at the list of people that he graded, you can clearly, you know, anybody would have, you know, their own opinion on people. Like, you know, he graded Puff and Mace. Like, he gave Puff a B, and I think I'm trying to think if it was like Nas or somebody like the same, or, you know, like a straight up B. And like, could he be a, you know, how could you rate, you know, that's kind of weird to me. Like, that was one of the things I saw that was kind of weird. Puff, Mace getting like favorable grades over, you know, even Mac 10 too. Like, Mac 10 got a B. You know, Diet Ice Cube. Diet Ice Cube got a B.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was weird, you know, with all that. But, you know, like I said, you know, he gave Lauryn Hill a plus, you know, but you know, I mean,
and what was the original date on this?
I think it was like back 96 or 97. I think it was from he had a book that he had written, and I believe like the original list was in that book, but then after that book came out, I think like magazines picked it up and, like, you know, had articles, you know, talking about, you know, the list. And then, like I said, just recently it popped up again, and, you know, everybody's talking about it again. And you know, it just started going crazy, you know. And for me personally, you know, obviously, you know, because everybody's list is going to be different, I see things that I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't have grades for certain people, but I do like the way he broke it down with different categories and graded, you know, each one to come up with a final grade. So I don't have any problem with any of that, and I also don't have any problem with Kumodi being the person to grade it. You know, I mean, Kumodi, you know, he's one of the original, you know, dope MCs that came out back when. So if anybody knows anything about creativity on the mic, you know, your performance, your lyrical ability, the words you choose to use, how you know, Kumodi is definitely somebody that would qualify to do that. I would like to see somebody from nowadays do this though. and how much controversy that would cause. Because I think it would cause way more controversy than Kumodi's list.
You know who I would like to see do that?
Who's that?
Kanye. Because you know that list would be crazy. You'd be like, this nigga got Donald Trump on here? Like
Donald Trump.
You're like, yo, he got bars, fam. Like, no, he don't. Go see the doctor.
Creativity.
Well, this is the thing, man. This thing was crazy back when it came out.
Right. It made a lot of noise.
And people actually asked the same question. Who the fuck asked Kumodi about his criteria? Like, who the fuck asked him? Right? And which is sort of true, but I do agree with you, right? Like, why not? Why not? Like, Kumodi couldn't have an opinion on, we may not agree with his choices and his grades,
right?
But this is Kumodi, and I think it's, a sort of a bad thing because it's a part of, ageism in hip hop, and I'm talking about even back then when it came out,
right?
That you kind of looked at him as being passe, so now you don't value anything he has to say. Now, back when he was burning up Busy Bees, right. Anything he had to say back then was valued by hip hop fans. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then once he got whacked, and he got the Golden Child outfit on, and LL Cool J kind of
the Star Trek shades
made him disappear, right? And the Star Trek shades, stiff shoulder dance.
Oh Lord.
And a couple appearances on some DVDs after that, looking extra chunky and still talking trash. We're like, Grimace, chill, man.
Grimace,
chill. We don't care. Like, we didn't ask you. That's the thing. We didn't ask you your opinion. Now, me personally, I kind of feel like for hip hop Twitter to do what it does, it just keeps going back to the same thing, Yentz.
Mm-hmm.
They're just a crop of people who don't know hip hop as well as they think they do.
Right.
Because for anybody to talk bad about Kumodi as if he doesn't have the right, they don't know their history.
Word, that's it. That's right. And I mean, his shit is thought out. At least he thought it out. Like most of the time, people just throwing out names, without any kind of backstory kind of thing, or clearly showing, a criteria. You just, and you just have this list, and whether people like it or whether people start, wanting to burn your house down because it's so crazy, but this man's shit was. It seemed like it was thought out. Even though, like I said, I disagree with some of the people on the list and how they were graded, I still gotta respect it for the way he breaks it down for everybody. And he's more than qualified as a person to do it. That's all.
I mean, he's a person that's done it, and that's the difference.
Absolutely right.
You know what I'm saying? That's sort of what the less informed don't get. He's done it. He did it at a high level at a time where he was the first to do it, right? For anybody listening to this podcast, I'm gonna leave a link in the description of this episode for my other podcast, That Time in Hip Hop, where we talked about that time in hip hop when Kumodi and Busy B battled. And in that very episode, me and Tony from Into the Dome talk about how that was the makings of real battle rap. Like, we know there was early on Cold Crush Brothers and that whole history with the tape and the battles and stuff used to happen back then. But we're talking about when lyricism in a battle became what you had to do. You had to do it. It became the criteria for the battle. You couldn't cold rock the party. You couldn't yes y'all us to death.
Right.
You didn't have bars to get at your opponent and diss them. it was over, and Busy B learned the hard way. And Kumodi was responsible for that. So if you like battle rap, but you on Twitter tweeting about Kumodi and how does he qualify to say that? Well, he's sort of the father of that. So there you go. It's crazy, Yinz, because we just got into the new year and already the dumb shit is just flying all over the place. But it's kind of like what hip hop Twitter does, I guess. You know,
it's not gonna stop. It's not gonna
it's not gonna stop. It's only gonna get better and worse. So
right.
Big shout out to the producers of this podcast over at patreon.com/hiphopnow. You can go there and find out how to become a supporter of this podcast stream. Shows like this, Hip Hop Twitter, That Time in Hip Hop, and my weekly news podcast, Hip Hop Now Podcast. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And on behalf of the homie Yinz, I'm your host, Vegas. Please follow your resolution and get your punk ass off of Twitter. Peace.
Peace.
Drop it on the random.